Good evening and welcome to the Buck Stops Here Weekend Edition. I'm Amitabh Revi. Prime Minister Modi has ended his trip to Bangladesh with an assurance of a humane solution to the Teesta river water sharing. But the whole landscape of the equation between the two countries has changed. India's Berlin Wall, has it fallen, wooing Bangladesh? On the show tonight, has Prime Minister Narendra Modi removed one pearl from China's string of pearls that surround India?
उन्होंने बांग्लादेश और भारत की जमीन की समझौते को बर्लिन की दीवार गिरने की घटना के साथ तुलना की है। मैं कहता हूं बहुत बड़ी सोच के साथ उन्होंने रखा है। यही घटना दुनिया के किसी पूरे भूभाग में होता तो विश्व में बड़ी चर्चा हो जाती, पता नहीं नोबेल प्राइज देने के लिए रास्ते खोले जाते। हमें कोई नहीं पूछेगा क्योंकि हम गरीब देश के लोग हैं।
Well, we've certainly noticed how historic that land boundary agreement is, but what's it going to be like potentially for thousands of people in these enclaves who had no country, no state, no ration cards, and almost no existence?
The Nowhere people now have a flag to call their own. Till Saturday, they were Bangladeshis living in an enclave locked inside West Bengal's Cooch Behar district, forgotten. Now, these erstwhile Nowhere people have a real identity. They are Indians.
প্রধানমন্ত্রী বাংলাদেশ প্রধানমন্ত্রী যে আমাদের সমাধানের করছে নাকি তাতে মনে হচ্ছে আমরা একটা পুনর্জন্ম পাচ্ছি এবং পূর্ণ স্বাধীনতা পাচ্ছি দ্বিতীয়বার।
আমরা ভাষায় প্রকাশ করতে পারছি না যে আমরা কতটুকু আনন্দিত আজকে। এর জন্য আমরা ভারত এবং বাংলাদেশ সরকারকে অভিনন্দন এবং বুক ভরা ভালোবাসা জানাচ্ছি।
Life has been hellish for the enclave dwellers since 1947, when the Radcliffe Line dividing India and Pakistan left them stranded on the wrong side of the border. No vote, no ID, no health care, no education, nothing. Hopes soared when Indira Gandhi and Mujibur Rahman initiated the land boundary agreement. But they have had to wait for 41 years.
হসপিটালে গেলাম বলে না আপনাদের এখানে চিকিৎসার ব্যবস্থা হবে না, স্কুলে গেলাম যে না আপনাদের বাচ্চা কাচ্চা এখানে পড়াশোনা করতে পারবে না। এই তো আমাদের আর প্রশাসনের কাছে গেলাম না সেটা কোনো আমরা দরখাস্ত নেব না, তাহলে আমরা যাবো কোথায়? ওই একটা মিথ্যা পরিচয় দিয়ে আমাদের যাওয়া লাগতেছে।
Today they have a choice. 51,500 enclave dwellers can live where they are or swap countries. Surveys say most people want to stay where they are. After all, that's where they have friends, family, and plots of land that they have tilled for generations. The new Indians have come home. With G.D. Shankar, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
Well, joining us now from the capital is Veena Sikri, who's been a former High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh. Aman Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP. O.P. Mishra, senior Congress leader from West Bengal, joins us from Kolkata. And Harun Habib, a senior journalist and author from Dhaka. Ambassador Sikri, if I can come to you, do you agree with this analogy that this is India's and Bangladesh's Berlin Wall that has fallen?
Yes, I think that it's an apt analogy because the LBA, the lack of the LBA had become a huge obstacle in improving relations between India and Bangladesh. And that Prime Minister Modi has been able to do in a manner, a historic unanimity in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, bringing together opposition parties, overcoming opposition in his own party, bringing on board state governments. And the impact on the ground, as we just saw, is not only that people have now finally got citizenship, but these border areas, 4,000 kilometers, which is huge areas of illegal activity, now have the prospect of being transformed into areas of shared prosperity based on the agreements that have been undertaken between India and Bangladesh during the current visit. Now we've seen that all the connectivity arrangements between Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, West Bengal and northeastern states, these have the capacity to transform this entire region into an area of prosperity and bring great benefits for the people of India and Bangladesh. And I think it has the capacity capacity to increase the GDP growth of Bangladesh by at least 1 or 2 percentage points. As we saw in Prime Minister's speech this evening in Dhaka, he touched upon the issues of great, Dhaka University, he touched on the issues of just close to Bangladesh's heart. He said, yes, I know the water resources issue is not yet solved, but I can assure you that we will solve it from a humanitarian point of view, not as a political issue. He spoke about the border killings with great empathy. He spoke about the adverse balance of trade, saying we want to bring investment. And these two special economic zones for India in the western border between India and Bangladesh at Mongla port and at Bhera Maria. So that's really very, very major, and it has a capacity to give real meaning to India's Act East policy and to bring Bangladesh as an important partner in India's Act East policy. Ambassador,
you're saying real prosperity and focus to India's Act East policy. Aman Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP. Mr. Sinha, the ambassador was mentioning a historic unanimity that the Prime Minister has managed to bring as far as the land boundary agreement is concerned. But the BJP, when the UPA was in power, was opposing this. What's changed now?
No, not really, Amitabh. This was a unanimous resolution of the Parliament. And this issue was hanging fire for quite a long time, for more than past 4 decades.
Correct. So why didn't you support it when the UPA was pushing it?
And this is in best interest of both the countries and of all the people living there, as you had also shown in your documentary. But Amitabh, let me say that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit has been a historic success to Bangladesh. And the fact that it is a dawn of new era in friendship of India and Bangladesh. The Prime Minister, in his very brilliant and eloquent speech, as he mentioned, that both the countries are not only their neighbors, but they are saath, they are partners, co-partners, and stakeholders in the goals of progress and development of both these countries. And it is reflecting in actions of Prime Minister. And you would have seen the whole audience was left in awe and amazement and admiration for Prime Minister
taken,
when he was
Mr.
speaking.
Sinha, but why did you not support
very
this?
Important
Why was
bilateral
this not unanimously pushed when you were in opposition and the UPA was in power, Mr. Sinha?
No, Amitabh. It was pushed unanimously. And this
that's
has
now.
been
That's now.
all along
is
has
this
been
the classic case of when you're in the opposition, you may be opposing something, but when you're in government, you realize what the benefits are?
No, absolutely not. There was no opposition at all, on principle. Maybe on 1 or 2 technical counts, there might have been some disagreement. That was also ironed out when we came into power. So therefore, there is no question of any, U-turn as you are trying to refer it to be. But let us look at the positives, Amitabh.
Sure.
The Look East policy, the Act East policy of Government of India is very much reflecting in its actions, and this will not lead to prosperity in Bangladesh itself, but prosperity for whole of Eastern India. And the connectivity which has been increased, the large number of agreements with respect to fake currency, with respect to illegal human trafficking, etc. All those agreements have been signed. The connectivity, as Ambassador was pointing out, is much better. So therefore, this will lead to the development of eastern part of India.
Sure. Let me get in O.P. Mishra in Kolkata. Mr. Mishra, do you think that the Narendra Modi government is getting credit for the hard work that the UPA under Manmohan Singh had done in terms of, say, this land boundary agreement?
Well, I don't think that we should try to deflect attention. We do not need to take away any credit. If our Prime Minister is signing an agreement, we are all for it. But then I should just want to remind everyone that each and every aspect of this agreement was already finalized on 6th September 2010 when Dr. Manmohan 2011 when Dr. Manmohan Singh had signed the protocol. So that particular protocol could not be translated into law because our parliament could not get the special majority that was required.
Why was that not possible?
Opposed it.
Why was that not possible at that time? Mr. Mishra.
It was not possible because the 2/3 majority which is required was
so why
not
was it not unanimous?
Why
was it not unanimous as it was this time?
It was because BJP opposed it 2/3 nil. And not only BJP, one of the partners of the UPA government, that is the Trinamool Congress, they also opposed it. And so therefore, what was already de facto could not be translated into de jure.
Right.
So therefore, we are all we are happy. But then I should also like to add that the Congress is a very responsible opposition. We have not opposed it. In fact, we are very much happy that this has happened, and this is a continuation of the UPA policy. Narendra Modi has been able to get it through. We are all the happy because this is what was very much required. But then it was Congress party's initiative.
It was very much required, yes.
Initiative.
These agreements go even further. When you look at the line of credit, he's doubled it from what you were doing. But let me get in Harun Habib in Dhaka, senior journalist and author. Mr. Habib, how is it viewed across the border there in terms of, do you think that domestic politics, which had stalled this agreement since independence, has now been pushed through because of certain dynamics that make that possible domestically here in India?
Yes, the mood across the stage is very since in Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha ratified the land boundary agreement in 1974. It was a long date, a long 41 years. Bangladesh ratified in 1974 itself, and India took 51 years of internal political dynamics and all that. But in spite of all that thing, I'm
right. Mr. Habib, I just get that line sorted out with you. There's a short, small audio issue there. But Mohidippa Banerjee is in Dhaka. Moni, you tried to get through to the TMC. The usual voices that come on television, I think, are broad, and overall the party was saying it's too early, too premature to come and comment on that. But the other big takeaway, of course, this agreement was possible because of Mamata Banerjee, and as it was being pointed out there by Mr. Mishra, the TMC and the BJP were opposing it when the UPA was in power. But Mamata Banerjee was a huge third player in this whole tour of the Prime Minister.
Well, again, I'm, in a crowded part of Dhaka, lots of traffic, and I couldn't hear you right. But, on the land boundary agreement too, Mamata Banerjee did accede to it as a party only after a guarantee from the central government that there would be a compensatory package for all the people that would have to be rehabilitated from the enclaves of Bangladesh that fall within West Bengal. So there was a deal over there that was done, that was not done before. Mamata Banerjee drove a hard bargain for it, because certainly we will have new Indians in North Bengal. From yesterday we've had them, people who want to stay on in India, people who are off Bangladesh living in those enclaves. Mamata Banerjee needs to take care of them, she needs the money for that, and she has got it. So that was certainly one of the points that worked in the favor of the unanimity that we saw in Parliament. A unanimity on the 7th of May that even Bangladesh here is talking about even till today.
Right, Ambassador Sikri, if I can come back to you. Now, Notun Projonmo is how this joint statement has been described. That's Nai Disha. You were mentioning so many other agreements there apart from the land boundary agreement. One of them is that credit line that has been doubled now, if you look at it in terms of what the UPA was offering.
Yes, I think the whole joint declaration is Notun Projonmo, new generation, new direction. It is really aimed at development focused on the younger generation, and I think the credit line is a very important aspect of it, because it will help both countries. Now the credit line, $2 billion, one of the largest India has ever offered to any country. This is a great significance. But look at what is going to be spent on. It's going to be spent, for example, on the 2 special economic zones, one at Mongla Port, one at Bheramara near Kushtia. It's going to be spent on petroleum lines. We are going to supply petroleum products to north of Bangladesh from Numaligarh refinery in Assam. Now this is going to be a petroleum line. This is going to be a digital link. We are going to get broadband width for Tripura, for Shillong, for Assam. So these are digital lines which are going to be established, and they're going to be transmission lines. We've seen there's going to be investment of $5.5 billion by two companies, Reliance and Adani Group, who are going to put this on the power generation sector and supply some 4,600 megawatts of electricity to Bangladesh. Now, I mean, the whole project, the whole power plant of that amount. So it's really going to transform the economies of Northeast India, of West Bengal, of Bhutan, Nepal and Bangladesh. It's going to be a joint area. If you look at the very specific agreements, for example, on coastal shipping, you know, right now, India's exports to Bangladesh, the India's exports to Bangladesh go from North India via Mumbai, Colombo, Singapore, Chittagong and then Dhaka. And it's ridiculous now they can go straight from Kolkata to Mongla port and then go by the river route right up to Dhaka or even to northeast India. So, you know, then the use of Chittagong port for our northeastern states from south Tripura, from the Ramgarh-Sabroom border, Chittagong port is only about 75 kilometers. Correct. And right now, any goods going from Tripura have to come all the way around some 1600 kilometers to Kolkata and then go by sea.
And so now that you're mentioning that, even those bus services that have been flagged off, you're reducing the journey time by about one-third, 500 kilometers from Agartala if you go to Kolkata via Dhaka. Aman Sinha, I just want to bring you in on the unique diplomacy in terms of involving states here. Now, it's not just getting the state on board. Here, the Prime Minister took Mamata Banerjee there. She was present. She was supposed to come back earlier. She was convinced to stay for the banquet and all through the journey. Talk us through how the BJP is now involving states, first in foreign policy, and then there's a domestic dynamic as well, the BJP and the Trinamool.
Is that for me?
Mr. Sinha.
Amitabh, you're right. You know, this is a marked change from the previous dispensation, and this only goes on to reflect the principle of cooperative federalism that this present government has been practicing. And in leadership of Prime Minister Modi, he has himself stated that all the chief ministers and the Prime Minister himself, you know, they are all part of the Team India. Prime Minister leads the Team India, and they are all working together for progress and development of India. And it is clearly reflected in, you know, actions of the present government. And as you saw, this agreement was hanging fire for a pretty long time, the land boundary agreement. But this present government was able to execute it. That is the point that I was making. In fact, even in you know, Mr. Manmohan Singh's last trip to Bangladesh as Prime Minister, he wanted to take the West Bengal CM along, but there could not be a unanimity or a consensus perhaps, and she could not go along.
Right.
Yes, that's right, Amitabh. But the present government has, you know, due to their, you know, principles of cooperative federalism, we have been able to take states on board. And they are all coming along together, and we are all working as one team for progress and development of the country.
But what about the internal domestic dynamics that we're talking about, that the BJP will want or does need the TMC behind it, whether it's in Parliament, whether it's in the Rajya Sabha as well?
Can I come in?
No, those issues, you know, for us, the India First principle is there, and as it is there for other chief ministers also. And whenever we are, you know, we cross our borders and go for any international engagement, you know, irrespective of whichever be the political parties, all of us go there as Indians and as one team, and that is what Prime Minister has, you know, been reflecting. It has been reflecting in leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
We'll take
He's
your
been
word
able to take people on board, and they are all
meaning it. But let me get in Mr. Mishra here. Mr. Mishra, you want to make a point here. They're talking about federalism involved in foreign policy, but when you're talking about the land boundary agreement, the Tripura Chief Minister, Mr. Mishra, or the Assam Chief Minister were not taken on this, even though they are enclaves which are on the border with Assam and Tripura as well. Mr. Mishra?
You know, on cooperative federalism, I should point out that this is the 43rd day that 8 chief ministers of Northeast India, they have sought an appointment with the Prime Minister, and they have not been able to get. And we have already seen what type of cooperative federalism is being practiced with regard to reshuffling the office of the governor and the governor in the small state of Mizoram. So far as Trinamool Congress is concerned, it is the Saroda scam and the CBI investigation on the one hand, and from the BJP standpoint, their support that they need in the Rajya Sabha. This is the glue which has brought the Trinamool Congress and the BJP together. BJP spokesperson has not been able to explain that why BJP had opposed it in 2011. And Congress party is getting the support and unanimous appreciation even from the Bangladesh government. Bangladesh Prime Minister Hasina clearly mentioned also the role of Sri Pranab Mukherjee, who was an important minister in the UPA government. So therefore, the role of the Congress and the role of the BJP is very clear cut. And I would like to point out something on which Monideepa has already said. You know, from 908 crores, now you give 2,900 crores. Sorry, 3,800 crores.
Right.
So this 2,300 crore rupees which is coming to West Bengal government, it has not been made very clear that for what purposes this will be spent. We are going, in West Bengal, we are going to keep a very strict vigil on this expenditure.
Your point is taken, but I don't want domestic politics to take over what we're discussing here. We got Harun Habib in Dhaka. Mr. Habib, would you agree here? It doesn't matter what the domestic politics that have. Mr. Habib, I'll come back to you, Mr. Nathan. I'll just come back to you. I need to get all my panelists on. Mr. Habib, just getting you here, it doesn't matter now what the domestic politics is, but it's a win-win situation for both countries, both people. Mr. Habib?
Yeah, this is the impression across Bangladesh that this is a win-win situation. After all, this particular land boundary agreement pending so long was a human dimension also. Now, Mr. Modi himself also said in his address in Dhaka that it is for no good of politics. Why should it be people of this country suffer? And he mentioned it very categorically, referring an article in Bangladesh that it is a fall of the Berlin Wall. And I also personally think that, well, a problem which has been remained unresolved for 41 years, and when India, like that of 1971, stood for the ratification of the land boundary agreement for the first time, so it gave the impression that India is united on question of Bangladesh, no matter what happened during the Congress rule or
So the point you're making there is that India is united on the issue of Bangladesh. Let me just get in, Ambassador Sikri now. Just the larger picture, ma'am, that we are looking at when what is called the string of pearls theory there of China surrounding India, all the way from our land boundaries to going on to Myanmar, to ports which have been given civil access, from Myanmar to the Cocoa Islands, to Sri Lanka, to the Maldives, and then to Gwadar. Do you think this is an extremely big step in terms of disrupting or pulling out one of those pearls, if you subscribe to that theory, that is, Ambassador?
I would first of all focus for this on the India-Bangladesh concept in the context of SAARC, in the context of South Asia. And I think it's an absolutely new paradigm of bilateralism that has been set for South Asia. It's the first time since 1947 that you're seeing this kind of a positive, strong relationship, mutual benefit, economic, social, multi-dimensional relationship between two neighboring countries in South Asia. And I really hope this will set the tone for the rest of South Asia. Our Prime Minister, when he went to SAARC summit in Kathmandu, had said that he wants SAARC to move along. If some countries are willing to come along, fine. If everybody comes along, fine. Otherwise, he'll go across with a few. And he has shown it now, because now, for the same motor vehicles agreement which Pakistan objected to at the SAARC summit in Kathmandu, BBIN, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal are going ahead with it. So you're seeing that SAARC has also got a new life, a new lease of life of moving ahead on the basis of sub-regional growth. And I think that is the biggest counterpoise to what you spoke about China. I don't want to go into that string of pearls and what China has been trying to do, but the biggest answer to whatever China's intentions, malintentions or whatever intention, the biggest answer is to set India's own neighborhood right and to carry out Prime Minister's neighborhood first foreign policy, mend your fences with the neighbors, move ahead in a positive way which will make them grow with India, bring their youth on board, because they will see the benefit in working together with India. And that is the best answer you can give to anybody with malintentions, be it China, be it anybody else in the rest of the world.
Well put, Ambassador, former High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Veena Sikri. There, ultimately, it is a win-win situation, no matter what the politics are playing out domestically. Thank you so much for coming. Amit Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP. I'm completely out of time. O.P. Mishra, senior Congress leader, West Bengal. Harun Habib, senior journalist and author from Dhaka. And of course, Monitaba Banerjee there. So it is a win-win situation for all, despite what the reasons are behind it. Thanks for watching. Good night.